never done this much work in any 8 hour period at any job in my life. Oh man. And I'm not even caught up with the work that I have to do. It's crazy. I'm not even gonna lie. Many jobs that I've been in, I found the best way to do things the easiest, to accomplish the task in the path of least resistance. It's not possible with this job. Even if you're bad at the job, you still have an endless pile of things to do. So I tried to do this live. I couldn't even get through 3 minutes. I got back to back to back calls. I had to answer all the calls, and then I was at my client's house. I had to help with all these different things, call all these different providers, and then I got back out of the house. I was gonna do the live then, got back on the phone. So trust me, I'm not an overachiever or an eager beaver when it comes to doing things for other people. If it was my own business, like when I dedicated those 100 days to Big Brother, right? I'll endlessly work for those things. But if I have something that I'm telling you is taking up 8 hours of my day legitimately, where I don't even have time to take a break, take a breath, you know it's actually just tons and tons and tons of work. Rant over. Back to the original topic, which is that success is a lonely road. I don't remember where I left off, but I only spoke for 3 minutes, so I'm just going to repeat the whole thing again. Growing up, mom and dad had jobs that they got. They both went to school. They both got their bachelor's degree. My dad pursued further education. He became an accountant, a CPA, and an MBA, a bunch of other things. My mom, she became an RN. So my mom was a nurse up until 2 years ago. She retired. My dad retired around 2018. He was an accountant for many years. There's a couple years he did other things. He was a teacher. He worked for the UN for a bit. And he did other jobs before that, but that's besides the point. What I was saying was, I looked at their lives and it didn't seem like something that I wanted to emulate. Because I remember they would come home from work, they were always stressed and tired and agitated, and what I now know to be, what I think, depressed, anxious, and I don't even mean in terms of clinical depression or an anxiety disorder. I just mean a natural level of anxiety and depression that comes from working this 40-hour work week, and something that you don't really like doing in sometimes toxic environments. And most kids look at whatever their parents are doing at that time, and they're like, I want to do that same thing, or I want to have that kind of lifestyle, even if it's not the exact job or profession that they want to do. They're still looking forward to getting to an age where now they're the ones who have the house and who are going to work and making the money, choosing to do the things that they want. But I always said to myself, my parents are always busy and tired, and when I ask them for things, they always tell me, no, I don't have money. Like, money doesn't grow on trees. And I used to think that they were telling me that just because they didn't want to give me their money, because people made me feel like my parents are rich. Anytime that I was like, oh, my mom's a nurse and my dad's an accountant, it was like, oh, you have money. Yeah, those are good jobs. Those are good middle class jobs, right? But they didn't own their own company. My dad didn't own a company. My mom did not own a hospital. So essentially, they were high paying middle class jobs, which demanded a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of effort. You know, the stuff that I'm doing now, my mom has told me that she would never want to do the job that I'm doing. I would never want to do the job that she did. Her job was intense. So it's a half of one, six of one, half a dozen of another. I'm not even gonna sit here and try to compare my job to working in the hospital as an RN. The reason she said that is because she's like, I don't have to deal with people's mental health issues, but you got to deal with so many other things. You got to stick people with IVs. You got to give bed baths. You got to help people go to the bathroom. You've got to make sure they get their correct medications. You've got to take all these accurate notes for the doctors. Like, there's a lot of intensity involved in doing that kind of work. But the point is, I never had a goal to be that person. And there's very few people who think like me. So it's hard to even have these conversations with most people. Right now, I'm just talking almost like a diary entry. But it's hard to have these conversations with most people because most people are of the mindset of that's just the way that it is. If I talk to my mom, if I talk to my grandmother, if I talk to anyone that is from probably my mom's generation or maybe a little after, most of them are feeling like that's just what you're supposed to do. Back in the day, back in my mom's day, if you said that you were an entrepreneur, that means you're a bum. Now there's people who sit on Twitch and whatever other apps, YouTube, play games all day on camera and get paid for it, get paid millions, get paid more than open heart surgeons to do that. And I'm not saying that we don't need open heart surgeons. Obviously, we need them. Obviously, that job is incredibly important. But also, it is incredibly stressful, very long hours, and in my opinion, not paid enough for the sacrifice that you have to make to do it. As is the same thing with my job. So from the time that I was young, I'm still young, but from the time that I was really young, 8, 9, 10 years old, I said to myself, there has to be something else aside from waking up in the morning, getting yourself ready, throwing on a suit like what my dad did, and walking out with his briefcase, which though I thought that was cool, I also didn't realize what exactly he had to do when he got to work. So like, I thought there has to be an alternative to this. There has to be something I can do that generates me more money. I don't have to work as hard to do it. Residual income. Yes, I was thinking about those things at that age. and I was actually making income as early as 10 years old. When I was 10 years old, I had a paper route. And the paper route, I don't think it paid that much, the actual paper route itself. I think I only got, must be $20 a month or something like that from the paper route. And I would deliver hundreds of papers across the neighborhood. But where the real money would come in was when I went to the neighbors to collect the money and they thought I was cute. And they were like, oh, cute little boy, here's $20. And I had this whole side income where I was really making anything from probably $100 to $200 a month as a 10-year-old. When I went to the dorm, when I was 13 years old, just to tell you how my brain is wired, when I was 13 years old, I was in a high school dorm. We had this thing in the dorm called the tuck shop. The tuck shop was basically a way that the dean of the dorm or the deans of the dorm figured out how to make some petty cash, because I think it benefited them more than it benefited us. You know how there's vending machines in a lot of these buildings. I don't think we had a vending machine. So, and then we had campus curfews because we were teenagers. So we had all these rules in the dorm. We could only leave at a certain time. We had to be back to sign in at a certain time. So we had this tuck shop, and the tuck shop had vending machine items. It had like zebra cakes. It had what else? It had waters. It had Coca-Cola, Pepsi. It had just snacks, Reese's Pieces, or whatever. And these things were grossly overpriced. So you would be paying like $1.50 for a can of soda, and that's pretty much the same type of thing that happens with the vending machine. But they would actually go to the store and buy these things and determine the price themselves and resell them to us, which were broke dorm students with no job. We were broke dorm students that did not have any job, and I didn't have any money. So I actually, my mom and dad, I guess, gave me like a little bit of money. So what I did was I said to myself, I could actually sell my fellow dorm students these same items. I could go buy the items myself, and I could sell it to them for a price that makes me a profit, but charges less than what the deans charge for their items. And the deans are only there for a couple of hours a day. I'm there several hours a day and at night when the deans go to sleep. So I went out to a store called Zellers, which a lot of you won't know, but the Canadians will know what Zellers is. It's basically like our version of Walmart back in the day. And I went over there and I bought a lot of the popular items that were being sold in the tuck shop. I went and I bought the cans of soda. I went and I bought the zebra cakes, the Reese's Pieces, the Twix bars, all that stuff. And I bought myself a mini fridge. So I took that so I could put all the stuff in the fridge to keep it cold and to keep the chocolates and the candies, certain things from melting. And I looked at all the prices in the tuck shop and I made a price in the middle, such as, let's say I bought an 18 pack of iced tea, of canned iced tea. And let's say that the dean was selling the iced tea for $1.50. So for the 18 cans, I think per can was actually about 30 cents, 30 something cents. I think that's a real figure. So I said, I got to make this something between 30 cents and $1.50. So what I did was I sold those cans for like $1. So they got 50% off. They got 50 cents less of a price of what they were going to get in the tuck shop, but I was still earning 67 cents a can. And that money is the way how I paid for like toiletries and things back then. So I had money that way because I only got so much money from my parents and I was not good with budgeting, so I used it all up. So I made an investment. I didn't even know that's what I was doing, but I made an investment just to show you how my mind works. At 13, I was saying, why am I paying $2.50 for a 2-pack of Reese's Pieces? Why am I paying $1.50 for a can of soda? Like, it didn't make sense to me. I'm like, they're buying and reselling. I could do the same. So I was like, that's just the way that my brain works. So not everybody has an entrepreneurial spirit at all, because I talk to a lot of people who are hard-lined to do the traditional thing that they know. Go to work 9 o'clock in the morning, leave work 5 o'clock in the afternoon, feel stressed every day, Monday to Friday, recharge a little bit, Saturday, Sunday, and back to the grind. And I remember when I first got into that type of thing, when I was 22 and I had just finished college, and I had my first like full-time. I had one full-time job before, but this was my first full-time job after college. And I got into that full-time 9 to 5 routine, and I was like 22, and it was one of the most depressing times of my life. And I said, what is the fastest way for me to get out of this? And I spoke to a lot of people who basically told me, oh, well, welcome to the world, Mark. Like a lot of people that helped raise me and a lot of people that were of that older generation, they were basically smiling like, I'm sorry for the struggle that you're going through. Imagine the fact that I've done this 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. And I sit here and say to myself, I finished school about 15 years ago. And here I am still doing this. I never thought that I would still be doing this kind of work. And when I say this kind of work, I don't even mean the specific job that I'm doing, because I didn't even see myself being in that field. But what I'm saying is, I didn't see myself spending 15 years doing this type of traditional work that makes me feel unhappy, because what it requires you to do is you have to figure things out on your own. You have to take your own risks. You have to make your own investments. It's a time commitment. You have to get employees. You have to do this. You have to figure out the books. You have to do that. And that sounds like a lot to somebody who is okay with being in somebody else's company and helping them to build their dreams. And that's not me. It's a lot for me to actually know the things that I am capable of doing. And to say, you know what? The consistent paycheck and the health insurance is the only thing that's keeping me here doing this. And I've been saying that to myself every day for a large number of years. That's not okay with me. And I know I've been talking about this a lot lately. The reason why I'm talking about this is because my music and mental health page, during this off season, when I decided to split these two pages apart, my reality TV page and my mental health, my reason for doing that is because I wanted it to be a clear separation of the two. And I've done that successfully. I built up a page where I only mainly discuss reality TV. And I like that page. But those TV shows are 1% of my life. Half of those things I even watch right now are because of the people who support my channel. Big Brother Canada, Survivor, I've watching, if not for my page. These are not shows that I was watching. These are things that I added to my playlist just to be able to have these discussions with people who like watching me discuss these things. But mental health and mental health related topics, that's my life. Regular, everyday, 24/7 out of that. And my current circumstances with work contribute to my depression. They spark it. I'm back in the type of spot where all of my off hours feel like just hours that I'm spending recharging myself enough to be able to give whatever I have to the job. I don't want my life to be most of it dedicated to work, and then whatever little sprinkling is left over, like rest and happiness is this little part of the equation. Rest and happiness to me is a very important part of my equation. And therefore, I will be endlessly pursuing those things. Or die trying. That's it. You know, it's hard sometimes when I think to myself about how many different things that I've tried. And how many different things haven't really succeeded in the way that I would like them to. But the day that I tell myself that this life that I'm living right now is normal, I want to know what y'all think. In the comments below, leave a comment. And also, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more great content. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.